Andoro sir, and welcome to my first YouTube video. I'm glad you made it. Thank you. And on here we'll be discussing true crime, mysteries, and sometimes unusual stories. And just to let you know, this is only for entertainment and educational purposes. So with that being said, let's get into it. Warning, the following presentation is intended for mature audiences. This case contains graphic descriptions of a crime as well as crime scene photos, strong language, so viewer discretion is advised. So I will be covering the case of Alyssa Bustamante. And Alyssa was born to teenage parents in 1994. And her mother was 15 when Alyssa was born, and she was already facing charges for drunk driving and drug possessions. And her father was also facing charges. I just don't remember which one got him officially in jail. If I'm not mistaken, it was for aggravated assault. Don't quote me on that. I'll put it right here in the bar in case of anything. And when Alyssa was 8, her grandmother and grandfather ended up taking her and her 3 siblings. And the grandparents wanted Alyssa and the children to have a fresh start. So they ended up moving from California all the way to St. Martin, Missouri. And the population there, I thought my town was kind of small, or my city. And no, theirs was a little bit over 1,000 people. So everybody knows your shit. That sucks. Like, it's not fun. Like I said, everybody knew everybody in that town, and obviously that big change was really tough for Alyssa. You know, she was already, well, you know, 8 years, well, not full on 8 years with her parents, but, you know, in and out with her parents, because obviously sometimes they would end up in the system when both her parents would end up in jail or something. And with that, she didn't adjust pretty well. She ended up getting depression, and she would often self-harm, and her personality took like a full fucking turn, like a full circle. And she started getting into very dark things and changing her lifestyle. And look, just because she was, you know, emo does not mean that everybody who's like that is troubled. I had my phase, okay? I'll put a picture to you, and I had my moment. It was not a phase, mom, okay? It's a lifestyle, you know, it's a style. But that does not mean just because someone just is like that or is like that means that they're evil or a serial killer, even though sometimes they want to portray them like that. But anyways, it was difficult for her to make friends just because she was a little weird. She was one of those raw people. I remember that was so popular in school. People were writing all over their freaking Facebook or I never had a MySpace. No, I never did have a MySpace. I think my mom barely let me have a damn Facebook. But the friends let me get back on the story. But the friends that she did have would say that she liked to write poems. She liked to joke around a lot. She was a statistic like me. And she also attended church regularly. She also attended, if I take deep breaths, I have asthma, okay? So I have a hard time breathing, and it doesn't help that my fat ass is all over the place sometimes. So excuse that. I breathe heavily, and especially when I'm anxious. So like I said, bear with me. I'm back. I got a makeup sponge. And just a little note here. I'm not a professional makeup artist, okay? I didn't officially start playing with makeup maybe in my freaking junior year of high school. Keep in mind, I'm already gonna be 25. But yeah, so don't judge me if you think my makeup is not correct. I know a lot of people do their makeup differently. This is just for me, kind of like a get ready, okay? So have fun with that. Like I said, Alyssa also attended church regularly at the Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, where she participated in several youth activities. Just to keep in mind, I have a mirror here and there, so I'm not ignoring you. I'm not ignoring you. Like I said, she went to the Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, where she participated in many youth activities. And despite her parents' difficulties, Alyssa exceeded in high school, earning A's and B's and participated in a lot of electives too. I know pretty much art is one of them, but that's all I found for the research I was doing. And sadly, even though she had friends, even though she went to church, and that was pretty much a little commute for her, like her friends and then the church, sadly Alyssa ended up hurting herself really bad. That on a Labor Day weekend in 2007, Alyssa was rushed to the hospital for trying to kill herself while also carving the word hate in her arm. And after spending 10 days in the look, I don't know how to pronounce shit too, so don't judge me and don't come at me for that too, okay? Please. So spending 10 days in the psychiatric hospital where she was put on antidepressants. And she also opened up to a healthcare professional there, and they said that Alyssa was diagnosed with depression as well as PTSD. Pretty much what she went through with her parents, and not a lot was said on the research that I was doing what she actually went through, but I mean, I don't think we would want to know. I mean, poor kid, you know, she had a hard time. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, her parents were addicts. Not addicts, I'll take that back. They weren't addicts, they were just troubled, you know. They didn't know how to cope with things or do things right. And sadly, not everybody wakes up when they have kids, which is sad, you know. And it doesn't help either that now we don't have a right to our fucking uterus, you know. But anyways, like they said, she had PTSD, and they also diagnosed her with a developed liking to violence and dark things. I don't know what qualifies as a dark thing. Like what is it, like a dark thing? Like horror movies, serial killers, like what, you know? Like they didn't really say exactly what she was really into. So she was into violence and dark things, that's all they said. And despite being on Prozac, fuck that shit. I was on that for so long, and that shit makes you feel like a zombie, dude. Like you don't even feel anything, which is a good and a bad thing, because then you're so fucking focused, but then you're just there like like when people talk to you, you're just like like yeah, like you're not in a mood. And that sucks, because you want to be there, you want to have fun, you want to live, and that shit makes you feel like a fucking, like you're in coma, you're a vegetable pretty much. You're just able to fucking move. But anyways, she was on Prozac, still struggling with her depression, and she was still looking at my thumb's just sitting away. She was still harming herself, and some of her friends would say that she would show them the scars or the fresh cuts, which, I mean, say something, you know. But I'm pretty sure they would say something, or maybe they didn't want to get her friend in trouble. I mean, that's a sticky situation to be in, because I mean, I would probably say something, but at the same time be like, hey, keep me anonymous. Sorry, like I said, I don't speak right. Keep me anonymous. I'm just watching out for her just to make sure she's okay. But I guess they didn't want to either lose their friendship with Alyssa, or they were maybe probably scared, which is okay. I mean, you're a kid. You don't really know how to go about that, you know. But online, Alyssa was a totally different person. She was Hannah Montana. She was living the best of both worlds. And on her YouTube and MySpace, she would put that she liked, and I quote, killing people and cutting, end quote. So ya está cabrón el pedo. So ya sabes cómo se va a poner eso. And she would also show on her YouTube, she had a YouTube channel too. I'll go ahead and put that link in below, her YouTube channel, because I'm pretty sure it's still up, because I saw it maybe last week on there. So it's still up there. And in one of her YouTube channels, it shows her brothers messing around, and there's an electric fence, and she's trying to make them like touch it, you know. And that shit, I think it's worse than a taser if I'm not mistaken, the electric fence. And like, I don't know how to take this, because a lot of people say after what happens, after the events that happen, people say that she had malicious, pretty much malicious thinking for what she wanted her brothers to do for that, you know. And I mean, I don't know how to take that. I don't know how to think about it, because I mean, I think we all bullied our siblings. At least I have. I would make them like the double or those block ass batteries or the thick ass round ones to shock them, but that was it. I mean, I wasn't over here, hey, touch this fence, maybe you'll live, maybe you won't, hey, put this fork in the outlet, YOLO, you know. But that's where I don't know how to take that. Obviously it's not safe. I wouldn't do it now that I have kids, but younger me would have been like, you pussy, touch it, like touch it, you know, don't be a pussy. Oh man, don't go tell mom, I'll let you have my dessert. But anyways, yeah, so sadly Alyssa ended up playing her darkest fantasies, which I don't know how people didn't see the freaking signs, especially if she went to like with someone, because her parents did get her a therapist. They went to different ones actually, just to get a different opinion on her and just get her the right kind of help, because she needed it. Nobody really knew what she went through, and her grandparents were just not gonna sit there and question her. But like I said, sadly Alyssa ended up playing out one of her darkest fantasies, and on October 21st in 2009, Elizabeth Olten lived 4 houses down from Alyssa, which I double checked, and there's a map. I'll probably put it up on the screen here, and it's like they live in a ranchito. Alyssa's grandparents ended up buying like a little ranch home with a lot of acreage, and it's built differently, where you're like, okay, 1, 2, 3, which house was it, you know? And then you see the map, it's like, oh shit, like I would not let my daughter walk all the way over there to her friend's house, you know, if it states that's 4 houses down like that. But I don't know, that is just my 2 cents on there. But Elizabeth Olten lived 4 houses down from Alyssa, supposedly, and Elizabeth was 9 at the time, and she was a sweet girl who would just be described as just a happy, respectful, nice girl. And her families and friends would she was really sweet. She was caring. She loved the color pink. She loved pretty princess dresses, and she really loved cats. And Elizabeth would often play with Alyssa's younger sibling, Emma. And I really thought hard about this. You guys let me know. So I didn't want to say Alyssa's sibling, because I mean, she was underage at that time. She was a minor. And now it's like, well, it's been a long ass time, Jen, you know, it's been a fucking decade already that Emma's already fucking grown. Like, you're not the first one to cover her. But then again, it's like, but do you want to mention it, bring it up again? But I mean, it's out there, so it's out there. And Emma would often play with Elizabeth, or vice versa. Elizabeth would call Emma to come and play, or with Alyssa's other siblings or other kids in the neighborhood. And on the night of October 21st, Elizabeth was home with her mother preparing dinner, and they were also prepping for, I'm not sure if it was for a recital or for a play that Elizabeth was gonna come out in. And oh fuck me, sorry, my powder, that never happened. And basically Elizabeth was prepping for that, and they hear a knock at the door, and it's Alyssa's sister, Emma. And Emma decides to call over Elizabeth to play. But Elizabeth's mom knew that Emma was scared of the dark, and it was already 5 in the afternoon, and it was gonna already be dark. So she kept telling Elizabeth and Emma no, but the girls kept begging and like, please, 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 just for a little bit. So obviously, sadly, Elizabeth's mom caved in, and she told Elizabeth, Miss Patty told, that's Elizabeth's mom, Miss Patty ended up telling Elizabeth, okay, you can only play for until 6 o'clock, which was like an hour, you know. And she knew that Elizabeth was gonna come back, you know, because Elizabeth was very, 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 very afraid of the dark. I mean, same girl. I'm 24 and I'm still sleeping with the nightlight. I start panicking. It's too freaking dark. And the girls went to go play. And it was a little bit past 6. It wasn't too long. It was maybe like 6:10, 6:15. So what? So then Patty noticed that, and you know, still no sign of Elizabeth. And she had this nasty motherly gut feeling that something was wrong. And obviously Patty ended up calling Alyssa's grandmother, Emma's and Alyssa's grandmother, where Alyssa's grandmother ended up saying that she never saw Elizabeth over. She never saw her at the house. She never even saw that Emma left. So that started raising alarms for Patty, Elizabeth's mom. So right away she called the police, and police and volunteer searchers began looking through the night for Elizabeth, but she was nowhere to be found. So then a couple days passed, and the FBI ended up getting involved, you know, and they started looking into Alyssa's backyard, and they ended up seeing this big ass hole. There's not even a little hole. It looks like a goddamn grave. And you know, they were like, hey, pues, ¿qué pedo, verdad? Like, why is there a fucking big ass hole in the back of your house like that, you know? And Alyssa ended up saying, and I quote, "I just like digging holes," end quote. Now, I don't know about you, but I come from a freaking Mexican household, and my dad would have been like, "You like to dig holes, huh? Like, okay, hazme un pozo allá, allá y allá para poner los pinches postes para la pinche cerca." My dad would have been like that. My dad either would have been like fucking pissed that I was doing that, but I guess Elizabeth's parents did not care. I mean, they did have a lot of acreage, but at the same time, they're older people. Like, I'm surprised that none of them have broken their ankle or busted ass in those fucking holes, because like I said, they're not little holes. They look like half of a grave. They weren't that deep. They were like maybe 12 inches, a little bit more deep. But I mean, still, I mean, I would have been like, yo, what are you doing? Don't be doing holes like that. The heck? You know? But like I said, I think Elizabeth's grandparents were a different breed. But anyways, the police were able to track down Elizabeth's phone. You know, they ended up pinging it, and it kept showing that it was somewhere deep in the woods. So they started searching the woods behind Alyssa's house. And when they searched where the phone was pinging at, they didn't find Elizabeth. They weren't even able to find the phone. So it's like, find my iPhone or something. But it's 2009. They didn't have that yet. So the FBI ended up questioning Alyssa's younger siblings, and especially Emma. And well, they said that Emma ended up Emma was playing with Elizabeth, and Emma ended up falling into a thorn bush, so she screamed out for Alyssa. And Alyssa had her window open, and she heard Emma screaming, crying, you know, for Alyssa. And so Alyssa went to get her out. She said, go get cleaned up, go do what you gotta do. And Elizabeth was like, okay, you know what, I gotta go, it's about to be 6, getting dark, you know, deuces. But no, Alyssa was like, hey, hold up, let me show you something. I got something cool in the forest to show you. I don't care how old you are. If anybody says that, don't go with them. Even though you know them, do not go with them. Do not go with them to the forest, okay? Do not go with them, okay? Just trust me on that. Do not go with someone. I don't care how old they are. Do not go with them. It's just bad news, okay? And well, anyways, so fast forward, they ask Alyssa, you know, even though already knowing that they question Emma about it, and Alyssa says, no, I did not see Elizabeth, you know, and all these holes that I freaking dug, I just like doing them for fun, you know. I bury random animals sometimes. What a freaking saint. But she likes to bury the animals. And obviously the FBI were also searching Alyssa's home, just because obviously the last time they saw Elizabeth was at Alyssa's residence. And there, let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. All right. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something. One of the agents began to go through Alyssa's room, and they noticed that there was like chingles of writing on the wall. Now, like I said, I come from a Mexican household. My people are real different, honestly. I come from a Mexican household, and I know for a damn fact that my mama, because she's done it, would have beat my ass if I wrote a lot of emo fucking sad shit. Just writing shit in general, like, girl. But like I said, I need to. You didn't see anything over there, okay? It's my bag. But like I said, Elizabeth, scratch that, sorry. Like I said, the agent ended up going into Alyssa's room, and he noticed that there was a lot of fucking writing on the wall. You know, very depressive shit. You know, rawr. And they also noticed that some of the writing would say a lot of crazy fucking shit. And they also seen that some of the writing, they would say that some of it was in pen, some of it was in pencil, but they also said that some of the writing was also in what it seemed like blood. Maybe it was ketchup. I doubt it, you know. The world may never know. But he also saw a drawing that represented one of Alyssa's siblings, specifically being Emma, with it seeming having slashes on the head, slashes on the arm. And they also noticed that that Alyssa had a diary. And in the diary, it stated that she wanted to burn down a house while people were in it. And later on in the statements, it said that the house that she quote unquote wanted to burn down was actually her grandparents' home with them in it. Girl. But they also saw, the agent also saw that in the diary, in the last page, he knows that there was a part of the diary that was scribbled out in blue ink except for a couple words, the last sentence. And I quote, this is what it said, and I quote, "I gotta go to church now, LOL," end quote. The police took the diary. I'm looking at this mirror because this mirror is kind of good. Don't look there, okay? I have so much shit there. But the police took the diary back to the police station, where Alyssa was now there for further questioning, and they were able to use a black light to see what she scribbled down. And what they saw was the least thing they expected from Alyssa. And under the black light, they ended up seeing the words slit and throat. But as they now knew that the diary said that, they ended up questioning Alyssa now a little bit more harder. And what happened to Elizabeth? They were asking her, like, well, what happened? You know, all you said was that you didn't see her, but we have others saying that you did see her, you know? And Elizabeth would say that Alyssa would also say that Elizabeth as well fell in the thorn bush with Emma, and that was it. That Emma just got out and went back home, or at least she thought she went back home, you know. And she would try to play it out. She would play it out like, oh, you know what, I don't think she would run away. Kind of like say that Elizabeth would either been, she wouldn't have not run away, that maybe someone kidnapped her. And there's a video on the whole what did he say? Integration. I can't spell, okay, come with me. But in the integration, I can't fucking say it, shit. But in that, donde la están entregando, like I said, and they're entregándola, she kind of tried to reflect and like try to say, like, someone took her, you know, someone kidnapped her, she's only 9, who's gonna take her? Like, she's not gonna run away, she can't do that. But she was only, and they wouldn't like, the way they did that, the video I saw, how they were just noting a lot of things. You'll be surprised on how people would want to play the cops, or like you think like, they're just a donut eating cop, like I can play them, you know, but they take kind of some good fucking training, you know. They take some cues of like when you're being nervous, unlike, or when you're playing with your hair. They also know when you're slouching or like opened or things like that, and they read a lot of cues into that. And I would see a lot of videos on people getting like when they get interrogated. I said it, interrogated. And I would always see them, like the cops like in your fucking face. I'm like, bro, back up. Like, wanna kiss? Let me find out. But this is actually a test. I can't fucking say it now. This is actually one of the things they learn in their training to do, kind of to push, you know, the person they're questioning to kind of get in their bubble, to not give them space to like make something up or breathe, and just kind of like build the pressure. Like, come on, dude, tell me what you do. Tell me what you did. Like, let me find out. You know. So obviously the cop was like, you're full of shit, you know. Like, he saw that right away. Like, he saw that she was lying and she was hiding something, and he was right, you know. And pretty much her grandmother was in the interrogation room. She had a, what is it called, because she's a minor. Well, she had to have her grandma in there, but they had an advocate for minors, and that advocate fucked it up too. She's there to make sure none of her rights are violated, but then she ended up jumping into the conversation like, yeah, like, we know how these things go. We've questioned minors before, we've questioned kids before, and we know when they're lying. She fucked it up. She fucked it up. Not fully, but in a sense, she fucked it up. And so basically, they end up telling her like, yeah, we took a couple things from your home, like your clothes, your sheets, the rugs in your room, and then the whole house, you know, just shit that just to get tested, just to make sure. And she was cool with it, like, yeah, go ahead, take my shit, you know. And they were like, you know, they're like, what else? Knowing they knew, because the officer had the fucking diary, he was hiding it. So he was like, well, what else did they take? What else did they take? So the grandmother ends up saying like, oh, like, I think you guys took her, you know, diary too. And well, when I tell you, her face fell to the fucking floor, her heart fell to her ass, and she knew in that moment that she fucked up. She fucked up. And she was bothered. And they asked, oh shit, sorry, my brush. They asked her like, how does that make you feel knowing that we have your diary? And she said, I'm like, she said it. It bothers me, you know, like, I'm like, fucking diary, the fuck, you know? And she knew in that moment she could not lie, but she still did. She tried to kind of like play it off, and the officer kind of tried to, it's another interrogando tactic that they do. They kind of make it seem like, okay, you killed them, but was it an accident? Kind of to like make it, okay, it was an accident, just to make it more like acceptable, I guess, to say it. And well, they were asking her like, was it an accident? Did something happen? Did I let you know? And she started kind of tearing up, saying that Elizabeth fell and hit her head hard and she just died, you know. And well, she panicked and ended up burning her body and throwing it in the river by her house, by the woods. And she fucked up there too, you know. A body doesn't just burn easily with leña and fire and wood and just de volada. It doesn't. Your body can only burn up to a high degree that you can't just easily burn a body in a fucking fire pit. It doesn't. You have to literally have an incinerator, a huevo, to burn a body. So then they were like, you know what? He was over it. He was over about questioning her and her, you know, making that shit up. And so basically he was like, you know what? We ended up able to read the rest of your diary. We were able to read what was scribbled out. and her ass was fucking sweating. I'll tell you that. It was sweating. Sorry, I had to do my lashes off camera just because I couldn't talk and do my lashes at the same time, so it's not the best, but we're working on it. We're working on it. Progress, growth. Anyways, once Alyssa's heart fell to her ass when they told her that they were able to read the rest of the diary. Keep in mind, her grandmother's in the room, okay? Her grandmother's in the room, the cop is in the room, and the advocate for her is in the room. So they asked her, like, they just point blank period asked her, like, did you kill her? And she said yes. Like I said, she said yes. And then after she was trying to BS them, like, he asked her, like, the cop asked her, like, was her throat slit? And she said yes. And in that moment, I'll try to add the clip.
Before you played with her, was her throat cut? Yeah. I think you tried to dig the hole, like I said. You realized it was too hard to dig down that far. And I think you got out there. They knew you were going to kill her. And then you cut her throat.
But her grandmother screams and starts crying because she just heard and confirmed it that her granddaughter killed a poor little girl, a 9-year-old girl, that was her neighbor. Okay, so I mean, that could be that can fuck with you, obviously. I don't know how I would react as a mother or grandmother realizing that my child did this, and it's not even like an accident, you know, it was out of just, she did it, you know. And so once she confirmed that yes, she did it and her throat was slit, she finally confessed, saying that she lured Alyssa lured Elizabeth to the forest, where Alyssa showed Elizabeth two dug up graves. You know how much she likes to fucking dig holes. So she showed Elizabeth the 2 graves. So Alyssa's like, okay, shit, you know, Bob the Builder in here digging up fucking graves for shits and giggles. But no, as soon as Elizabeth was, I guess, distracted, Alyssa pounced on Elizabeth, strangling her. And I don't know how from strangling it went to Alyssa ending up stabbing Elizabeth 8 times in the chest, finishing her off with slitting her throat. And once that did it, you know, Alyssa ended up burying Elizabeth. Alyssa ended up burying Elizabeth, sorry, my bad. But the grave wasn't deep enough. So what Alyssa ended up doing was putting a little bit of dirt, twigs, leaves, whatever she could to cover it. But you could obviously still see, like, if you look hard enough, you can still see like there's a little body poking out. So yeah, well, it's a lot of pigment, Jesus fucking Christ. But once the cops, and like, she ended up telling them that she did it. She ended up taking the cops to go see where, you know, where Alyssa ended up burying Elizabeth. They ended up saying that, like, she's not a brown hair, poor Elizabeth, pobrecita. So later on, when they were finally able to, because before in the black light they were only able to see those 2 words. So then finally they were able to read the whole diary entry, the last diary entry before all that. And this is what it said. And I quote, "I just killed someone. I strangled them and slit their throat, and now they're dead. I don't know how to feel about it. It felt amazing. as soon as you get over the oh my god, I can't do this feeling, it's pretty enjoyable. I'm kind of nervous and shaky though. Okay, I gotta go to church now. LOL. End quote. No pues well. That's all I can say. No pues well. No pues well. So when the officers ended up asking, you know, Alyssa, like, what was your motive, you know? Maybe, I'm pretty sure the officer like, well, maybe she got frustrated. Alyssa se fastidió con Elizabeth, and she was just like, you know, F this little kid, and like, she gets on my nerves. But no, it wasn't even that. It wasn't even the fact that Elizabeth was getting on her nerves for being just a kid. It was the fact that Alyssa just wanted to know how it felt like to kill someone. But wow, no pues wow. You know, I mean, I think we all as human beings have tendencies like shit. Like I always wanted to know how it felt like to be like on a high-speed chase, you know, and shit taking on for days. But no, I'm not gonna do that, you know. You know why? Because I have common fucking sense, you know. Like I don't want to go through that. I got family, I got kids. I'm too grown for that shit, you know. I'm not living that YOLO life like that. No. So after that, obviously Alyssa went to jail, and on the 30th of January 2012 she was trialed as an adult. And in the court, Alyssa confessed killing Elizabeth, and Alyssa's lawyer tried to play this point of the reason why she went down this route was because of her troubled childhood, and just kind of get some leniency over it, because like, ay, pobrecita, she went through A, B, and C. And it's like, they also tried to do the insanity plea because of she had depression, the PTSD. Again, they took a note that these graves were, you know, they were intentional, they were planned. And later on she did confess, saying that she did send Emma to go get Elizabeth to kill her, you know, because she just wanted to fucking kill her, because she wanted to know how it felt like. And same thing, everybody has mental issues, everybody has one thing or the other, but like I said, it is not an excuse to be a shitty person. Your mental illness is not an excuse to be an asshole, a shitty person, or to do dumb shit like kill somebody or do anything evil to anybody. It's not an excuse. Yes, you have that, but you still have to do the time. I feel like, and honestly, I don't think courts should have leniency for that. Like, oh, you know what, I have A, B, and C, this happened, so then I have a free pass in a say. I don't think so. I think they should do their time. They should do time for their crime, and it is what it is. At the end of the day, they still did it, and it shouldn't be for me, my opinion, it shouldn't be a free pass. And obviously I don't want them to go to jail just to rot, you know, in a room, a little cuartito, or in a little cell. I would want them to obviously pay for what they did, but as well, if they have mental issues, get the help that they need. Like, get the help that they need, and, you know, do as best as they can to find peace with themselves after what they did. And that's just it. That's just the way I see it. And don't get me started on what I think the system should be, because lately I've been seeing a lot of freaking cases, especially, I'm not getting into it because it is going to be a forever topic for me that's never going to end. So Alyssa's lawyer was able to get her like a plea deal to plead guilty to second-degree murder. And with that, they ended up giving her life in prison with, after 30 years, she's eligible for parole. And Alyssa told Elizabeth's family that she regretted her actions, that she was so sorry, and that if she could, she would trade places with Elizabeth, you know. And sadly, that's not possible, you know. It is what it is. She did it, and she's gonna have to pay for what she did. And in the court, Elizabeth's mom, Patty, she felt like the sentence was too light still, and in court she called Alyssa Bustamante a monster and that she hated everything about her. And during her speech, the judge had to stop her because he felt that her speech was towards Alyssa was too poignant. I don't know what the fuck that means. Search it up, or I'll put it up here, and that it was impassionated, which, I mean, I'm a mother. That speech is gonna be passionate, whether it's hate, love, happiness, and that was just anger. She was angry that her little girl was taken out by some other child that just decided to see how it felt like to take a life. And it's just, I get it. I would have been the parent to jump over the fucking desk and throw hands, but it's understandable. And later on the courts, Alyssa's grandmother also stated that Alyssa should only be allowed out of prison when what was it? Oh, that Alyssa should be let out of prison the same day that Elizabeth, you know, rises from her grave, which is obviously, you know, not anytime soon. And I give props to Alyssa's grandmother, because there's just some freaking family members that, oh, dude, it boils me, because then they'll protect the person that did the crime, the family members, which I get it, you want to have support, but you can't support them to get out or ask for like a lighter sentence or something, or just freedom after the crime they did, especially murder. You know, that's not how it works. It doesn't work like that, okay? No. Later on in 2014, Elizabeth's mom, Patty, ended up suing Alyssa for a wrongful death suit, and the Supreme Justice Court decided to grant her that after 2 years after doing that, and plus a 9% of each year when she's not paying. So she ended up settling down for $5 million plus the 9% interest each year that she doesn't make. Like, she doesn't make the full on payment, which is like, damn, you know. In 2012, Alyssa tried to appeal for her sentence, for a shorter sentence, because she ended up finding out that in the US Supreme Court there was a case that affected the juveniles who were convicted of any crimes like burglary or drugs, drives off, just for minors not to do a life sentence or a shorter term. And the judge ended up denying it, which, you know, thank God, because I mean, I'm pretty sure they would have had a field day for that. Elizabeth's mom still hates Alyssa, which I understand, you know. People want to say time heals wounds, old wounds or whatever, but I don't think that. I think we just get used to just continuing living without or with that situation. And yeah, man, dude, that's some tough stuff, I gotta say that. But anyways, thank you for watching. I really enjoy, or I am very pleased for the support. Don't be afraid to comment down below for any new cases you want me to do, even old cases. And as well, like I said, don't judge me for my makeup skills. I am barely learning to, you know, or not barely, but I'm still learning as I go. And if you have any tips or recommendations for new things or skills or any products you'd like me to try to, I would really appreciate that as well. So like I said, thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope I see you in the next video. I am going to try to upload every Wednesday, and I'm gonna try to upload, if I can, 2 times a week. I'm gonna go for it. But for now, just because I am a mom and I am a stay-at-home mom at the moment, and it can be a handful, so I'm going to, like I said, just stick with uploading for every Wednesday. And yeah, make sure to like and subscribe, and like I said, thank you for stopping by. Bye.